Thanks for checking out Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA. Here are your hosts, Andrew Hofer and Tom Sigel.
Welcome to Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA, and Happy New Year to everyone. Our first episode of the 2026 calendar year, and a special time and a nice opportunity to intro our Three Rivers staff. We don't have our backbone who handles everything in the office, Leslie Bannister, on for the episode, but we do have the four of us: Andrew Hofer, our area director. We also have Jeff Bernhardt, a field ambassador, Craig Johnson, another field ambassador, and myself as a field ambassador. And basically what that means is we rely on Andrew a lot, guys, don't we? He's our full-time and the rest of us are part-time, just so that, if you don't know what field ambassador is. So we each kind of have an area. So Andrew, why don't we kind of take a turn here and let us each kind of give our background and introduce ourselves and kind of what we're doing.
Yeah, this is exciting. Get a chance to join the rest of the guys this week. And like you said, I'm the area director serving here in Three Rivers, and try to lead these guys the best I can. And but I want to give you a commendation, Tom, because you mentioned that Leslie, the backbone at the office. So she does a lot for us. Without her, we wouldn't be able to get a lot of this stuff done. So very thankful for her. But yeah, excited to have Jeff and Craig on, and to be able to talk about some of the things that have happened within FCA here in 2025 and some of the things that we're doing, and just very excited to continue the pod.
And I don't know how many people know that you had obviously a coaching background and athletic administration background, and what, two years ago, is that what we're on, that you made the shift over to take charge and lead us?
Yeah, we're pushing 2.5 now, and I was told when I joined administration that I joined the dark side, and so I don't know when you come into FCA if you come back to the light. But I was I've coached for a long time and still coaching my kids in youth sports, and I was in education and teaching for 15 years, and made the transition 2 years ago this past August. So it's been a blessing to be able to join and be a part of the ministry and see how God's working every day.
Well, and I think that my perspective of things too, being a Sherrard native and then at Mercer County, that and through the connections through schools, you really have those connections built. And as you tried to work with people in the different school districts and, throughout the area, I think has been a positive.
Yeah, I think one of the themes that you'll see as we all four kind of mention our backgrounds is that with all four of us in coaching, involved in the schools, that has certainly opened up doors, and relationships matter, relationships with different administrators and coaches and teachers. And that's really helped us as FCA has kind of exploded the last year or so here in our area numbers wise. And the amount of huddles just continues to grow. And but yeah, I think those experiences and those relationships from the past within athletics, within education, have certainly been beneficial, and you can kind of see how God's plan working out there.
Yeah. And then Craig, I think I probably didn't realize it, but when I was at Rock Falls, I think we must have crossed paths through your assistant basketball duties at Bureau Valley, as we've talked and shared stories along the way.
Yeah, we did. I taught 34 years, started at Western and then consolidated into Bureau Valley. Coached football for all 34 of those years, coached basketball on and off, I think, for 20 plus. Did a lot of scouting for Coach Bickett and Coach Helm. Was the head baseball coach at Bureau Valley for 5 years. Actually was a head baseball coach in Iowa for a couple before I transitioned over. And when I retired, Dan had always joked with me that he'd have something for me. And I sat down with Andrew and him, I believe, last about November, December, and came on as FCA ambassador for basically the Bureau County area, Henry County, kind of that, and have really enjoyed my year with FCA.
And I don't remember the years, but your state title and appearances at Bureau Valley
Yeah,
in football
we
were
had a nice run. State runners up in 04, state champions in football in 05, and then went to the semifinals in 06. I was the offensive coordinator for those teams. Coach Kirby was the coach for our runner-up year, and then Coach Moore, who's certainly one of my best friends, was the head coach for the state championship and the semifinals. So we had a nice run, and I did a lot of scouting for Brad's 3 state basketball teams. I think I scouted Rock Falls a couple times. Well, you were actually there. We played you guys, I think, in the regular season in about 97, 8, right in there.
Yeah, pre-Huddle days.
Yes, pre-Huddle days. I still like to scout basketball with paper and pencil. It's nice to see people in person.
Yeah. And hearing that too about, I was baseball coach and football and helped with basketball and small schools and stuff. So I'm sure you had some, whatever the bus license is, probably drove some buses and vans along the way too.
Yeah, I did. When I coached in Iowa, baseball's in the summer.
Mm-hmm.
So you drove the bus, you got the field ready yourself and everything. And I started coaching baseball in the summer of 85, my first year out of high school. Ran the youth program, was the varsity assistant for 4 years, then was a head coach for a couple years. And you did everything because it was summer and nobody in the school really cared. You got the field ready, you drove the bus to the games. And like you said, in a small school, when I was at Western, you did whatever they needed done.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of carried over to Bureau Valley. And I did a lot of things there over basically 29 or 30 years.
Yeah, I love it. And then another guy that really enjoyed getting to know and work with, but Jeff, our first interaction was getting paired up and put on the same golf team in the FCA golf outing probably about 4 years ago.
Yeah.
And we didn't win it, so nothing to brag about there. But
no,
Usually Coach Sigel's trying to find a ringer, Jeff, so you should take that as a compliment.
I think I brought the team down that day.
No. Yeah, we all had some struggles, but it was fun. So I'll turn it over to you then, Jeff.
Yeah, no, I got a soccer background myself. I've been started at PV and then moved to Alleman and DeWitt. I've been bouncing around and now I landed at Orion. And started at Orion actually as a golf coach and then moved over to soccer the last few years. So things are going well.
Yep. And my connection, obviously, in the Three Rivers, being at Rock Falls for a while, actually growing up there, and then coaching basketball at Rock Island for 20 years. When I retired, my youngest was playing baseball at Geneseo, and of course, I hear from Dan. He wants to know if I'm going to be there before the game, and was hitting me up, like you said, Craig. Ready to go, maybe in a little bit different capacity, but with the opportunity to fill in with, especially in the coaches ministry, and continue with our coaches huddle. Sounded like a great transition for me too. So just been going well, and trying not to scare away listeners or any subscribers on this venture, but as Andrew and I have talked about before. But we have 2 great guests that are on this week, so this will be special. But doing the podcast has been something that's been exciting, and trying to improve at that as we go.
Yeah, and one of the things that I think we talk about it a lot. I think it comes up at all of our meetings is camp, and everyone here in this pod has been involved in it one way or the other, and. Exciting time because camp is going to open up for registration next week. So if you're listening the week, it's going to be January 12th. when camp registration opens. And for the first time ever, we're going to have a athletic camp at the University of Dubuque. So we've got a lot of kids over the last, oh man, many years now going out to Central College in Pella. We've had some that have gone down to Illinois College in Jacksonville. And, you know, our numbers have exploded at those camps, and they've been very impactful. And Jeff, I'm going to swing it to you a little bit. Like, you've been involved in camp for a while. Talk to us about why the FCA camp experience is so valuable.
Oh man. So yeah, I've been going to Pella, I think, for 10 years. And the transformation that you see in athletes, not only in their sport, but mostly in their faith. I got to saw it firsthand through my son. To see him transform into a young man of faith through that camp is just, as a father, it just brings me so much joy. And then getting involved in huddles in Orion, both at the middle school and high school, and seeing these kids start going to camp, and that's what they look forward to every year. It speaks volumes of what FCA is doing. And unfortunately, or fortunately, Pella's got to the point where it's getting too big, where we needed the second camp. And hopefully we can carry on a new tradition in summer FCA camps, where we can meet the needs of the students and not lose the Pella, what they've started, but just kind of embrace it at a different campus and in our region, and just have the kids just grow and learn in their faith.
Yeah. When I went out a couple of years ago, and to see it where, you know, you hear about it or whatever, but it's how it breaks down to, you have a group in basketball, you have wrestling, you have all these different sports going on, and to have find a place with the facilities and the dorms.
Yeah.
And I know that there's still some organization to go on with what sports, but there was golf and I mean, off campus. I think volleyball had to go off campus at Pella.
Yep.
And so just hats off to the crew that has gone out. I don't know, Andrew, you were at 4 or 5 maybe different college campuses, or somewhere around there, and trying to talk. Yeah, thought I might be a little bit low.
Yeah.
To check facilities and talk to administration and those type of things. And so it's been a long process. I know that you guys have gone through.
Yeah, Jeff kind of mentioned it. It was a problem, but a blessing. You know, when you start to get 100+ students on a wait list, because they're going to these camps and having impactful experiences. And, you know, every year we're able to kind of come back and talk to the kids about, like, hey, what was this camp experience like? How did this week impact you? Because it's truly a way where they're able to isolate in a way that they just don't do. I mean, they're kind of getting away from the world. And yes, they're participating in sports, and that is a huge draw for a number of kids, but they're going to be poured into spiritually in a way that many of them have never experienced. And, you know, you see like staggering numbers in the way that God's working with that. I mean, last year there was 47 students who gave their life to Christ for the first time out at that camp. And that's another 150 said that they rededicated their lives to Christ. And that's 200 students almost. And that's a testament to God using that avenue as a way for kids to disconnect from their norm and to reconnect with Him. And so,
piggyback on kind of Andrew and Jeff, Ann and I went on the Friday the first year Adam, our youngest, went. They always have that thing that the parent, and to see all those kids in the auditorium at Pella, it's amazing. And then the smiles on their face when they tell you, when you give them a ride home, what the week was like, and they want to go again. You know, Adam missed a year because of COVID, and he was so excited to get to go again before his senior year. And he will tell you, much like Jeff's son did, it changes their life. They get great sport, but I don't think they realize the Christian part of it until they get there and the significance that that has on their life. But it's life-changing. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah, and one of the pieces we talked about when it's growing so rapidly to the point where there's that many kids on the wait list, there was a sense of urgency. And Jeff, we've talked about this a lot at meetings, like huge sense of urgency to say like, hey, discipleship can't stop here just with this 1 week at Central College. How are we meeting the needs of I don't even want to say hundreds, there's thousands more students here just in Northwest Illinois, Northeast Iowa, Southwest Wisconsin alone that could use that avenue as a way to engage with Christ. And so that led to many discussions. And now this year we're able to, after it's been years of work now, able to come together and with our camp team, and it's going to end up being hundreds of volunteers by the time we're all said and done in some capacity, able to put on another additional camp at the University at Dubuque, and hopefully continue that discipleship model that we've seen at Central College, and to continue to grow that and share the name of Christ throughout all of our region for students all over within our region here. So,
and I was going to say something we expanded on last year that Craig spearheaded and pretty much did all the work for was a power camp focusing on basketball. And Jeff you can also touch on, Jeff, what you're working on with one for soccer, that we want to kind of continue these and expand them into different sports.
Yeah. So Power Camp is geared toward the younger kids, and it's just a week. Was it 3-day, Andrew? 3-4-day camp, and we're trying to find a location for soccer. Hopefully, we'll know it in the next week or so we can announce it. And I'm pretty excited because honestly, the coaching community in soccer is small, but it's not tapped well enough for FCA. So I'm hoping I can use this vehicle to tap into those soccer coaches and to allow me to guide them in their faith as well. So that's actually what I'm excited about. And then everything else will just take care of itself.
Yeah. And it was exciting to be able to piggyback on what, Craig organized last summer, and to venture out, and we know there are different places that are doing power camps with great success. So we were encouraged by that. But Craig, we had no idea really when we said, "Hey, let's try something," and some steps to take. But it was really an enjoyable week.
Oh yeah, it went great, and all four of us were involved in different roles. Tom kind of undersells himself. He set up the basketball part of it, and I know Jeff and Andrew did a lot of the spiritual. Mine was kind of get the facility. We had it at Bureau Valley. Shout out to them. Mr. Stabler, superintendent, was great. They gave us access to their facility for 3 mornings. I believe we had 48 students in 3rd through 8th grade, had really nice junior high group, great kids, had a number of high school and college counselors, had some area basketball coaches help out. And like Jeff said, it's a great way to get access to the younger kids and get them involved. And one of the things I really enjoyed, obviously we had a lot of Bureau Valley kids because it was there, was hearing from parents and some of the people how excited they were and how excited their kids were when they came home. And one of the immediate questions I got asked is, are we going to do it again? And the plan is to have our second basketball power camp in July. Not 100% sure on the dates yet. We're thinking possibly the week of July 13th. Got to get that ironed down, and hoping that our numbers for that continue to increase, because it's a really good week, not only for the kids that are in the camp, but it's a great week for some of our older FCA kids, high school, college age, to grow and give back and be huddle leaders during the week. And we had a wonderful group of both high school, college, elementary, junior high kids that week.
Yeah, and it was a nice split with boys and girls,
Yeah.
the campers too, and it worked out. You know, we were able to get the team set up by ages and those type of things. So, definitely a fun time. And like you said, the facilities worked out with the 2 gyms, and so we appreciate Bureau Valley for hosting.
Yeah, and that's that power camp was great. And we had never done one before here in Western Illinois, and I think it went better than we could have anticipated. So it's again, not just athletically, more importantly, the spiritual side of things. Kids are getting poured into at a younger age, and I think it went really well last summer. We're looking forward to expanding that. And Tom, one of the things you and I talked about off air was that people ask us all the time, like, how is ministry going? And right now, as we enter 2026, I would say we've got more ministry than we can handle. Like, and I say that in a good way. Like, uh, just this past year, I mean, currently within this school year, we've got more huddles and programs up and going than we had all of last school year, and it's not because of any one of us. It's just, again, a testament to how God's moving, and our huddles have been very impactful within our local schools. And we've seen our huddle numbers grow immensely, both in number of programs within our different local schools and within the number of students. I kind of taken aback when I walk into a school. It's got 150 kids in the high school sometimes, and then you'll walk in sometimes and there might be 70 kids at the huddle.
Hmm.
And that's I don't know that I expected that this year, but God's using these huddles as a way to really move. So,
Yeah, and I
Jeff, I don't
think.
know.
Oh,
Go ahead.
well, I was just going to say the way we've talked about before, and the mission, I guess, of FCA is through sport. Reaching students and coaches through sports, and that's a great draw. I mean, that's
Yeah.
maybe what really attracted all of us. We have a
Yeah.
spiritual life, but now there's that crossover. Um, and so, we talk about the game day at the John Deere Classic, where kids get to come
Yes.
out with the golfers and walk and help carry the bags, and they let them putt a little bit and talk to
Yeah.
them. And then you have PGA tour golfers afterwards sharing their faith afterward, with parents that are able to go, and those kids. And so that's just another way. And you talk about the numbers, with events that FCA hosts, like Fields of Faith, that are out there. So a lot of great things happened in 2025 and heading into 2026.
Yeah, and I'm always careful when we talk about numbers, because numbers can lie. Like, they don't always mean what's actually going on. But the amount of kids that we see involved, the amount of kids that we are seeing being bold in their faith and professing it, and not only that, not wanting to keep it to themselves, they want to actually share it with everyone they can. That I don't know if they were just a quiet minority for a while, but they're not anymore.
Right.
And that number continues to grow. And I think these students amaze me, and how bold they are in their faith. And that's one of the things that I wish I would have been more bold when I was a teenager. Well, these students aren't doing any wishing; they're doing what they say they're going to do.
Mhm.
Well, we saw that a little bit with the power camp, the high school kids and our even college, I guess we'd say more young adults, giving back to those junior high and elementary students, running a group, going over Bibles, scripture with them, showing their faith, and that you can be a competitive athlete and you can still be a participant in FCA, a Christian, have great faith. The two can very much go together. And I think sometimes people don't always realize that.
Yeah, and as we head into 2026, we've already talked about the excitement with new camps plural coming up here, and then
Yeah.
the amount of ministry we have going on within our schools. And but as we head into 2026, because of this growth, there is definitely a huge need for volunteers and resources. And in September we were able to do a Bible drive, which was again successful, more successful than I could have ever anticipated. And those Bibles are now getting out into the hands of students. We within the first couple months, we passed out several hundred Bibles already. And that we anticipate by the end of the year we're going to be between 750 and 1,000 Bibles. The word is getting out, and the ministry continues to grow here, and we're very excited about the upcoming future. But part of that is getting the volunteers that we need to be a part in our schools, whether it's within a campus ministry, within a camp. It could be even on your local travel team. We need volunteers. And so I know that all of you guys have helped volunteer. So I'll leave it open to you guys. Like, what would be your encouragement to anyone who's not volunteering, but either maybe thought about it or maybe hasn't thought about it until they hear it on this podcast? Jeff, you're smiling. Go ahead.
All right. That's how I got involved in FCA, was volunteering. I went to a seminar that FCA put on and met Tim Schneckloff, and he said, "Dude, you got to get to camp." And so actually camp was my first taste of FCA. And then when I came back, Dan, pulls you aside and has that conversation with you. And I got involved in the Moline Huddle a little bit, and then out in Orion, got involved and really got my feet wet. And then it just slowly built from volunteering to the board. And then Andrew must have had a bad sleep one night and woke up and asked me to become part of staff. So no, this is not only transformational for the students, but man, it's changed my life. It's made me a better husband, a better father, and just a better man of faith. And I have everything to to give because of FCA. And anybody who's on the fence or anybody who wants to volunteer, please step up, contact one of us, and we'll get you involved. There's so many opportunities, especially with camp coming up in Dubuque, and these power camps. It's a great way to get involved in the, we can kind of guide you from there. But you won't be sorry. You will not be sorry.
Yeah, I think you bring up a good point too. Is it could be something small that's the seed that you you see the impact on the kids or whatever, and want to do more. And like you said, Craig, some of those high school kids or the college or recent college grads that helped at the power camp, maybe that is something that they want to do more. We've had people that help volunteer run the golf outing that we're having June 1st, every year that we do that. So, maybe it just might be something like that, you're around it, and well, what else is available?
Right.
And then it's not always a great time commitment to start with, but you might be surprised.
As a parent, that's kind of a little bit how I got involved, was when my daughter, my oldest, we just started the Huddle at BV, but I started talking to Dan and stuff. He invited me to a meeting over in Geneseo. And as our Huddle got more active, I think the first thing Ann and I did was bring breakfast one morning. And then it just kind of grew. Dan got me over at a meeting. And as Adam got more involved, I got more involved. So, as a parent, as you see the impact of FCA on your student, child, son, daughter, reach out, get involved. There's all kinds of things you can do. And you never know where it'll take you, but it's incredibly fulfilling. Helping with a field of faith or whatever it may be.
Yeah, but we've unfortunately lost some, for different reasons, some full-time staff. And so being able to pick up with some of us part-time has helped. But It's like you said, Andrew, there's a lot going on. And so, yeah, definitely we encourage it.
Yeah, ministry takes a lot of people, and, 5 years ago, I don't necessarily think that I was thinking about being in this spot where I am now, but God can use us all in so many different ways, and I think we've all got different gifts and talents that can be used, and, we've had people who volunteer at our golf outing, we've had people who volunteer at the gala that we have in April, we've got people who serve at huddles on campus, some of them are serving with, non-campus sports, you see with, travel sports, which is kind of a really growing part of our culture. We've got people who are serving different teams, whether it might be a team huddle or so there's just so many different ways that I think people can become a part of this. And I know not everyone's comfortable with going up in front and talking and leading the charge as far as communication goes and all that. And that's okay. It takes a whole wide variety of people to make this go. And, I think that if you've ever thought about it or you're thinking about it now, like please reach out. Like we would love to get more volunteers because there's over 10,000 high school students in our region alone. And I don't know that we really think about that. That number is just incredible. And then the amount of college and junior high and students below that are way more than that. I can't even tell you what that is. But there's a lot of students out there to be served. There's a lot of coaches out there to be served, and God can use us all in a variety of ways.
Yeah, and you mentioned too about your comfort level, and maybe I think kind of what you were saying, Jeff. Maybe that's one of the things too. But I know my reservations were, well, I can't step up and do that. I just don't. I didn't feel confident enough in some of those roles. But now that what going on 4 years in doing this, I felt comfortable because I was a part of that coach's huddle for
Right.
over almost 20 years. And so when that was kind of one of the things, like, well, I can do that. But it might be like Andrew, you said, the gala, which is a fundraising event, to help fund the things that FCA is doing here. Maybe that's how you help. Or you start out, like you said, Jeff, too, and and then you expand a little bit. and
Yep.
and Craig, you said you weren't even volunteering for a kind of a role necessarily, other than being a part of things and trying to help out. And so, no, I can speak from experience too, that my first inclination was, I'm not strong enough spiritually to do that and to come on board with FCA. But you find out that maybe you get your foot in the door, and there's a lot of different options as well.
Yeah.
Yeah, and not that we want to compare FCA to the disciples, but like were those guys experienced or I don't know that they all thought they were the right person but when Jesus asked them to follow, they followed. And I think God's called us all to be a part of this ministry in one fashion or the other. And there's just a lot of different roles. It takes a lot of people to make ministry go, whether it's within a church setting or within a nonprofit setting like FCA. It takes a lot of people to make this function. And we're incredibly grateful for all of our volunteers because we have so many schools and so many students and coaches that we're serving it every day.
Yep. And our emails, I'll put those on the screen here in the video too, to be able to reach out to any of us with questions or whatever the case may be.
Yeah, please reach out. We would love for more people to be involved, and even if you just want to talk and see like if there's a fit for you, we'd love for you to be involved. And if if you don't think you have the time or the capacity to do that, please considering giving to FCA. We don't like to beat people over the head about it, but everything we do is supported by individuals and businesses and families. I don't know that that's common knowledge. I think some people think that there's just some big check written to us every year, and that's not the case. And it takes a lot of people to make this go. And so we're missionaries, just like people that you see going overseas. It's just we're doing it here in our local backyards here in our schools and with our athletic teams. And it takes a lot of people and resources to make this go. So if you don't have the time to volunteer, please consider giving. And we'd love to be able to touch with you and get as many people to be a part of this as possible.
So, Jeff or Craig, anything else to close out, or thoughts on the upcoming year?
Well, for me, I just think this year is going to be just amazing. Not just for Three Rivers area, but just for FCA. I think we're going to see an explosion with the two camps and the power camps. I just think to invite more student athletes to our events, man, I think we're gonna grow quicker than we think, and volunteers will be needed. So yeah, please reach out to us if you can.
Agree with Jeff. It's going to be an awesome year, and you can volunteer in a lot of different ways. We talk about our power camps at our elementary, junior high age. Believe me, finding parents to drive people back and forth to camp, to volunteer, step in for a moment and look at what we're doing, or take a carload of kids to Dubuque. One of the things I did that really got me completely involved, I took 12 kids to Pella in an old school bus. The first year that BV kids went, kind of saw what was going on there on that first day. But it's going to be a great year, and we're sure looking forward to everything that's coming up, I know.
Yeah.
Yeah, as we close, just want to remind everyone to like or subscribe to the podcast on YouTube and on Spotify. So we appreciate all of our listeners, and looking forward to echoing you guys a little bit here. That looking forward to a great year. We know that got huge visions here, and just very hopeful that God will provide and giving us opportunities to keep sharing His name and letting Him work and move within our schools and through our students here. So it's been a great 2025, and looking forward to 2026. So until next time, this is Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA.
Thanks for watching this episode of Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA. If you have ideas for content or interview suggestions, just reach out to Tom or Andrew. Thanks again for checking out Inside the Huddle with Three Rivers FCA.